So, what if you could take like 10 different software subscriptions and just replace them all with one? And look, we're not just talking about writing a blog post here and there. We're talking about building an entire automated engine for your business, one that handles content, brings in traffic, and even generates leads. Today, we're going to dig into this idea of an all-in-one AI system. Is it just hype, or is this a real tool that can act as a central engine for business growth? Well, how does it all work, and is it right for you? Let's dive in and figure it out.
To really get our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 6 parts. First, we'll talk about a problem I know we all feel, the modern content challenge. Then we'll look at a potential solution, consolidating our digital tools and building an automated workflow. From there, we'll connect the dots. How do we get from just making content to actually finding customers? We'll also do a much-needed reality check on what AI can really do. And finally, we'll explore who really has the advantage in this new era of creation.
All right, let's kick things off with a problem that probably feels a little too familiar for a lot of us, the modern content challenge. You know, it's a strange thing, isn't it? We have more tools, more platforms, more everything at our disposal than ever before. So why on earth does building a business online feel way more complicated than it did just a few years ago? And that leads to a really important question you've got to ask yourself. Is your current content workflow actually helping you, or is it hurting you? Seriously, when you sit down to work, are you spending more time fighting with your software than actually creating anything? Is your process a smooth, streamlined highway, or is it more like a messy garage just packed with a bunch of tools you barely remember how to use? For a lot of people, it's definitely the messy garage. And this is exactly what causes that messy garage feeling, right? You've got your SEO tool subscription, another one for video editing, one for your AI writer, another for social media scheduling, and they all have their own monthly bill. Every time you have to switch between apps, you're context switching, which just drains your focus and your energy. You basically have to be a mini expert in 5 different platforms just to get one piece of content out the door. It all adds up to crazy high costs and, let's be honest, total creative burnout. It's no wonder so many people give up before they ever see any real results.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, this leads us straight to the big idea we're exploring today. What if we could consolidate that entire messy toolkit? We're talking about a fundamental shift in thinking, moving away from that scattered, fragmented approach and towards a single integrated system that can handle pretty much everything.
And the difference is just night and day. On the left, you've got the old way, the messy toolbox. You know the drill. Jumping between a dozen browser tabs, copying and pasting from one app to another, trying to make all these different programs talk to each other. It's super inefficient and it gets expensive fast. But on the right, you've got the integrated approach, the Swiss Army knife. The whole vision here is one platform, one dashboard that's built from the ground up to manage the entire life cycle of your content, from that first spark of an idea all the way to hitting publish. So, how does this actually work in the real world? That brings us to the automated workflow. This is where the rubber really meets the road. How can one platform possibly do the work of 10 different tools? Well, it all comes down to radically simplifying how we create things in the first place. The whole process basically boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, you just provide one single input. It could be a keyword like keto diet for beginners, or maybe just the name of a product you sell. That's it. Second, the AI takes that one idea and goes to work, generating an entire suite of related content. And third, this is the most important part, your role completely changes. You're no longer the person grinding out first drafts. You become the editor, the director, the strategist. Your job is to review, refine, and decide how to use all these new assets. I mean, just think about what you can get from that one single keyword. All of a sudden, you have a full script for a 10-minute YouTube video, you have a complete SEO-optimized blog post on the exact same topic, you have a whole week's worth of social media posts to promote it all, and you even get scripts for short-form clips for TikTok or Reels. And the best part? All of these pieces are thematically linked because they all came from that same core idea. You've basically created an instant, cohesive marketing campaign. Okay, but let's be real. Creating a mountain of content is completely useless if it doesn't actually do anything. And that brings us to the most critical piece of the puzzle, turning all that content into actual customers. If all this technology does is help you make a bigger pile of digital stuff, then it's totally missed the point. The goal isn't just to make more content, it's to build a predictable system that actually drives business growth. And this right here is the core philosophy that separates a hobby from a real business. Just making content for the sake of making content, that's a one-way ticket to burnout. But creating content as part of a system, a deliberate engine designed to attract an audience, engage them, and turn them into customers, well, that's how you build something that lasts. Every single piece has a purpose. And this is how all those different pieces we talked about actually work together as a system. That SEO blog post and those short-form viral clips, think of them as your frontline soldiers. They're at the top of the funnel in the awareness stage. Their only job is to get attention and bring new eyeballs to your world. Then you have that full video script. That's for the next stage, consideration. It's meant to educate those potential leads and show them you have a solution to their problem. And the social media posts, they're all about engagement, building that community and trust you absolutely need before anyone is ever going to buy from you. It's a complete system, all spinning out from just one idea.
Okay, now we need to have a very important reality check. Let's talk about AI as a leverage tool, because it's really, really easy to get swept up in all the hype, but it is so critical to understand what these systems can do and, maybe more importantly, what they can't do.
I think this quote from the source material is probably the most important thing to remember from this entire explainer. This is not a magic button. An AI tool is not a business in a box. It can't replace your unique strategy, your expertise, or your commitment to being consistent and executing smartly. If your plan is bad, AI is just going to help you execute that bad plan much, much faster. So the right way to think about AI is as leverage. What's leverage? It's a force multiplier. In this context, it's all about compressing time. It takes those 10 hours of painful, tactical work, like writing and formatting, and it crushes that down into maybe 30 minutes of reviewing and refining. Now, that doesn't mean you get to go home early. What it means is you now have 9.5 extra hours to focus on the things that actually grow a business. High-level strategy, talking to your customers, and making your products and services even better. So, keeping that reality check in mind, let's wrap up with our final section, the new creator's advantage. If this thing isn't a magic button, then who actually benefits the most from this kind of consolidated, AI-powered system? So who is this really for? Well, think about the beginner who's just completely overwhelmed by the 50 different skills they're told they need to learn. Or the affiliate marketer who knows they need to scale up their content production to actually make it work. It's for the creator who's been at this for a while and is on the edge of burnout. Or the freelancer trying to offer more services. It's for the small business owner who is always fighting the clock. For all of these people, the main benefit is the same. It helps them break through the single biggest bottleneck, which is execution.
And this really points to the new competitive advantage in today's world. See, in an age where everyone has access to information, having a great idea, it's just not enough anymore. The real advantage, the thing that separates the winners from the losers, is the speed of execution. The person who can test an idea, publish it, learn from it, and iterate faster than anyone else, that's the person who's going to win. And that, fundamentally, is what a tool like this offers, speed.
So we'll end with this final thought. For years and years, the technical skill, the time commitment, and the sheer cost of creating high-quality content have been huge barriers to entry. But as those barriers are being systematically torn down by technology, the question is no longer, can I create this? But what is worth creating? When the friction of just making this stuff is gone, the new bottleneck becomes your strategy, your creativity, and your vision. So, the real question to ask yourself is, with those barriers removed, what will you build?